Certainly you can ask questions at any point during it, and you do that by typing into a chat box, okay, in your, and you go to webinar box there. So feel free to ask questions, okay? And we'll just wait just another minute or so. I am kind of curious, what schools are being represented here. So as we kind of wait, maybe type in what schools you are attending and how you heard about us, and then we'll take a quick glimpse of that, and we'll just wait for a few more people to come on in. So as we're waiting, we'll just wait just one more minute here, see if things level out. Okay. Yeah, some people have trouble logging in, and if we don't catch them right in the beginning, then they kind of stay a little bit behind the whole way through. So we want to make sure that everybody's in. So we're almost there. We'll just wait just one more minute. Okay. So I'm just going to wait till. Let's just give it one more minute. So, what schools are you going to, and how long have you been in the program? Have you been in 3 years, or 5 years, or 7 years? Where's everybody at? And we have one that said too long. So, right. We'll help that shorten that time frame. Okay. All right. So we'll just. My colleague is laughing over here. So some of you guys have a good attitude about this.
Everyone's been in there too long.
Everyone's been in there too long. So, which makes me think, aside from the fact that you probably have been there too long, and that we can help you expedite that process. Keeping a good sense of humor through this process is a good quality to have. Actually, having a good sense of humor at any point during lots of things in our lives is probably a good thing to have. So, all right. So we're there. People still joining up, though. All right. People still going. Yeah. And I know we're just a few minutes in. So, and what kind of degrees are being represented while we're waiting for a few more people? What degrees are represented with you all? Are you in education? Are you in nursing? Business? Where are you? So, interested in seeing where you're all from and what other varied kind of places you're from, what departments and disciplines. And as they're waiting for the last few to trickle in, because even full professors, what do they get, 20 minutes? We'll give you guys 5 at least. Where else should we be marketing to tell people about these seminars? So, interested to hear about that as well. Any other questions you have during this time, feel free to ask away. And we're going to wait just one more minute. So the last person is trickling in. And we'll just wait just one more minute and get started here. Maybe we should say jump to the end first, where we're going to talk about the introduction and literature review on Wednesday, October the 22nd. So about a month away, we're going to get into another 4-part series, doing the introduction and lit review, and then we're going to get into the method and results and IRB and discussion chapter. So again, everyone, feel free to ask questions at any point. My colleague will pass them along to me. And so let's get started. And again, thanks for all for joining. I appreciate it, and we appreciate your questions. Because when you have questions, other people have questions as well. So we're going to talk about choosing your attitude for the dissertation journey, how you're going to pick your committee, and how you're going to choose your topic. All very important. Okay? So let's go. So maybe you don't like to hear this, but it's true that approximately 43% of students don't complete their dissertations. What kind of thing is this for me to start out like this with? 43%? Is this true? Well, the Council of Graduate Schools says it's true. There's a lot of ABDs out there. But I'll tell you right now, if you have the right attitude and the right committee and a topic that's doable, you're going to be in the other 57%. So just heads up, you got to stay strong during this whole process here. So I would suggest in dissertations, as in perhaps personal relationships, 90% of your joy and your misery is going to come from that committee, okay? And personally, probably from your husband or wife or your partner, okay? So you want to make sure that you're selecting the right people. So first question comes whipping in. Is changing committee members good or bad? I'm going to get to that in a little bit. The truth is that often it's going to delay you time. So I don't think about things in terms of good or bad. What I think about in terms of getting you out. That's the main point. So it's bad to the extent that it may cause you more time. In the upcoming slide, I say, better the devil you know than the one that you don't. You don't know what new problems that new committee member is going to have for you. So dissertation, it's a journey. It's a marathon, okay? Let's talk about attitude. So Viktor Frankl said, those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. So Viktor Frankl, who lived in difficult situations, basically what he's saying is sometimes it is difficult to bear those committee members or the arduous process. But if you keep committed to why am I doing this? Why did I pursue this degree? Maybe you're the first one in your family to get the degree. Maybe you've been at it for so long that you just have a convicted heart around this. You have to keep that why present in your mind, okay? That other people are learning from what you're doing, be it in your family or be it around you, or your own sense of committing something and finishing what you started. So keep that why strongly and firmly in mind, and you'll be able to withstand a lot more of these difficult situations than otherwise. So here's a question. How do I ensure that committee members are passionate about my topic? Well, I guess my first question is, why would you want to ensure that they're passionate about your topic? And what is the presupposition that they're passionate that you're going to get out sooner rather than later? Someone who's passionate about it may keep you going and going and going on longer than you care to. So again, to me, it comes down to getting this sucker finished, okay? Whether you're passionate or not, whether they're passionate or not, I'm kind of task-oriented when it comes to this and ends-oriented. So passion is not always the best thing because you didn't want to go on and on and on about it. So yeah, I'd like to see moderate passion rather than total disinterest or total commitment to it. So stick with the whys and stick with seeing the end in mind, which we're going to get to. One more Viktor Frankl. Obviously, you can tell I like him. Between stimulus and response is a space, and in that space is our power to choose our responses. And in that response lies our growth and freedom. You're going to get feedback. Before you get frustrated, there's a choice for you about how to respond to that. We don't have to be stimulus response Pavlovian dogs that when we hear the bell, we salivate, right? So we get to choose how we're moving through this process too. Now I know it's not easy on top of all the other commitments that you have, that they ask for a 12th revision, or you're in your third quarter, or they ask you to go to the writing center, and it goes on and on and on, and it's frustrating. Nevertheless, you still have a choice in between that stimulus and your response to that. It's your responsibility. All right. Moving forward with that responsibility in between stimulus and response, Stephen Covey, who passed away a couple years ago, said that there's really 4 things that distinguish us from other animals. Okay? Self-awareness, imagination, conscience, and independent will. My dog, although I love him, he cannot tell you what he's doing 2.5 weeks from now. He does not have that imagination. You can envision your end in mind. You can assert your will, and you can be aware of what's happening. So lots of ways that you were uniquely, I'll say, adapted to having that freedom in between stimulus and response. Okay. Let's talk about attitude and adapting a proactive focus. All right, so basically, this is a Covey concept, and basically he said that there's 2 circles. This is the leftmost circle I'm referring to. So that there's a circle of concern, which is the largest circle, and inside that circle is a smaller circle of influence. And basically, he's saying if you focus on that circle of concern, like the Iraq War or politics or other different things going on, not that those are not concerns, those are concerns, but you don't have direct influence and control over those. However, the smaller circle inside, the circle of influence, these are things you do and you can impact on. And he says to the extent that you focus on that circle of influence, that circle of influence will grow stronger and larger and more spacious, which is what you want. The other option is to focus on the circle of concern, and your circle of influence will get smaller still. Okay? So the idea is, what can you influence? What can you affect? Okay? Focus on that part of it. Don't worry about the bad teacher or the whatever else. You know, maybe that committee or that chairperson was selected for you, and you have no choice over that. Fine. Then that's what you have going on. What can you influence there? Well, maybe you need to be aligned with them better, or have more communication, or get expectations down, or readjust your own expectations. So think about your circle of concern and circle of influence. Okay. Other things that I have found helpful during my process, both through my master's degree and through my doctorate and dissertation. The idea that this is your project, okay? Get over that, okay? I know, we have good intentions. We've come by this innocently. Your name is on the paper. It should be your dissertation, okay, or your thesis. But the truth is, it's not. It's a collaborative process, and the people with the magic pens have their own ideas about how this thing should proceed and what kind of topic and your theoretical approach to things. They're going to have lots of things to say about it. To the extent that you're tied to having it be your project, okay, you're going to suffer. To the extent you could say, listen, it's a collaborative thing. They're going to edit the heck out of my paper. The section I've spent 20 hours on, they're going to want to cut out and with one sentence, okay? So let go of that. You're going to find your life easier. Think about that. Your life is going to be easier by letting go of it being your project, okay? That's a preconception you have. You don't have to have that preconception. You can change your mind about that. And I'm inviting you now, as you listen to my words, to let go of that preconception for your good. as well as your project business, is your time frames. I don't speak to anyone, ever, almost, I'll say ever, who thinks they want to spend more time in this process, okay? Everyone's got rigid time frames. Be flexible about that. Try to be more flexible about it. First of all, the committee, they're not going to have a real regard for your time frames. Sorry. And if I'm the first person to tell you that, I won't be the last. They're going to stop editing your paper because you want to meet you're bumping into the end of the quarter? They're not going to listen to that. So be more flexible with your time frames. They probably don't care, okay? And to the extent that you rush them and add a secondary thing to them, problem, they're going to care even less, okay? My teachers and my chair people, I won't say they didn't care at all. They didn't say, Jim, we're apathetic to your time concerns, but they kept me going for quite a while. Okay. Stay in balance. When I was working on my dissertation, I had a friend, Lee, and Lee came over on Sunday, and I saw Lee, during the week and at school, and I said, how much have you worked on your dissertation or something to that extent today? And he said, I haven't worked on my dissertation, and I never work on Sundays. Now, I'm not particularly religious, but I used to work every single day on that dissertation, every day. And the fact that someone else did not work on that dissertation every single day and sleep with that underneath their pillow, to me that was surprising. So Lee taught me how people stay in balance. And you can stay in balance with exercise and social, or participate in some spiritual thing or religious activity. Fantastic. That's going to help you move through the process, because even if it takes you a year or an extra month or whatever it is, and maybe even less, that at least you can say, you know what, I've stayed healthy in all these other domains, and you're not out of balance. And when you're in balance, you're going to be able to take care of things in a lot healthier fashion. Okay, let's move to expectations of no revisions. Okay, get that out of your brain entirely, okay? If God wrote the dissertation, they're going to have comments about that dissertation. It's like their thumbprint on that paper. So everyone, no matter who, even when we helped you too, by the way, okay, they're still going to have revisions. Still call, it will be shorter revisions, but they're still going to have revisions, all right? Okay, and obviously, never give up. Never give up. And I talk to people, they're on their last legs, and they're burned out. I got that. If you take care of some of these other bullet points I've talked about of letting go, essentially, staying in balance, and getting the social support and the expert support that you need, you'll be less likely to burn out and finish the process. By the way, if you have a partner, if you have a great partner, terrific. It's nice to go through it with somebody's hand. Don't burn them out, though, okay? Just like someone with a psychological problem, at some point they're going to want to stop hearing about it. Don't burn out your partner either, okay? Join a community of I'll say, like-minded graduate students who are also, I won't say just to commiserate, but perhaps problem-solving together. So you want to find people that you can go to that you're not burning out your loved ones, okay? Okay, another Covey-esque concept, which is this attitude of starting with the end in mind. As we're going through the process, okay, we can lose focus about what that end result looks like, okay? I'm going to suggest something to you, and I want you to take this seriously. I want you to have a picture in your mind, and you can put it on your refrigerator too, but in your mind it works just as well, of you with that graduation cap on, okay? Just take a deep breath. And in that place of certainty in your mind, see you with the cap on, see you through the process. When you have the end in mind, don't worry about the steps. The steps are there, you know the hoops, but keep that end in mind. That will give you the energy and the endorphins to kind of keep going. And your unconscious and your subconscious will help you figure out ways of getting there. So keep that end focus and vision in mind. Okay? All right, so a little break for Q&A, if there's any questions at all. All right. Short of questions, I will keep moving forward. All righty. The committee, that's a picture of the committee. Notice they all have their cap and gowns on. You would think they'd be more excited about you having a cap and gown on, but some are, some aren't. But how do we sort them out? How do we separate out those? So certainly you want to talk to other students in the process. Does everybody have access to other students? My guess is you do, through social media and through other things, right? Other modes. I'm curious, what are those modes? Type that into us, okay? What are the other modes that you talk to those students? Now, I will communicate those other ways to the other people in this, on this webinar. So how are you talking to other students, all right? Because you want to find out, in particular, who were those good and not so good committee members. You know, the ones that keep you there, the extra quarter, that cost you $4,000 plus interest, plus tell you this isn't quite right, but don't tell you how to fix that. Yeah, we want people who are more helpful. So talk to other students who are in the process or have been through the process. Look to see what dissertations they've chaired. Okay. All right. Are they in the same topic? Are they easy to work with? Again, you may not have a choice, but to the extent that you do have a choice, utilize that choice. As a general rule, I typically stay away from new members. New members are inexperienced. They may have their own expectations. And essentially, they're an unknown commodity. And as my little sentence down below says, better the devil you know than the one you don't. You know, the truth is, at least you know their weaknesses. You have no idea with these new people coming in. Certainly unfamiliarity with the process. And you're paying that price to walk more slowly through that process than perhaps you would otherwise. So I'd rather know somebody, excuse me, I'd rather know, you know, what that commodity is. Okay, so going back in terms of talking to other students, students are emailing each other, they're going through social networks, and they're going through colloquiums. I'm curious about what those colloquiums and networks and emails are, you know, through school or whatever. But so for everyone to talk to other people, check for your own school what those colloquiums and social networks and emails, what's happening there. Okay, one major thing with the committee is that some people are very quantitative in nature. Some are very qualitative. If you like one of these approaches and they like the other, it's difficult when you guys are not aligned together. They're going to want to sway you in one direction. Guess who's going to win that swaying process? Right. They're going to win that swaying process. And you're going to wind up doing a quant study when you wanted to do a qual and the other way around. So inquire about their comfort level and see if it's aligned with your comfort level around a particular mode. Okay. Let me just say something too. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. And people who want a mixed method dissertation, I would stay away from them altogether. Okay. Why understand and have to discuss in your methodology and in your results chapter two approaches, okay, and walk through all of these things? This makes no sense to me. I understand they say, well, it's going to be a more robust study. The heck with that. I want a done study, okay? After you graduate, go do the robust study. And by the way, go look at their dissertation. My guess is they suffered through a mixed method dissertation, and now they're putting you through the same hoops. Stay away from those people. I don't think that you need necessarily a mixed method, even if it is a slightly better study. Our job is to be done. That's what I hear day in and day out. That's what our team here focuses on, getting you done. That's what we want. You've already paid the price in time and in money and in frustration, or now you're bumping into that frustration. Going through classes is easy. Dealing with these committee members with ongoing edits, you want to put your head in the oven. Okay. URR, IRBs, Institution Review Board, or University Research Reviews, obviously, look at their templates. But importantly, look at other people's templates from those students, and those colloquiums and networks and emails. Look to see what their approved templates look like. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here, especially if they're around the same topic or with the same mentor, okay? And certainly with the same approach. Look to see what they've written, okay? How they've written it. You can just tweak the words. Methodologies are not, totally novel animals. There are only so many ways to look at differences on variable X by variable Y, okay? All right. When you think about committees, do they really have your interests at heart? I mean, really. Do you get that sense that they really care about you graduating, all right? If they don't, look to see what kind of choices you have. Okay. So I'm just getting a question, asking, how often do students go over the time, money? Not quite sure. There's students. Everyone thinks they spend too much money and too much time. Okay, because we all want to be done 1 quarter earlier, no matter how long we've been in the process. People do spend money and time. I think I calculated for one school, they wanted you in 7 quarters, so you got a year, and it was about a $30,000 deal. It's a very large school, too. You guys and gals know who I'm talking about. So it's an expensive process and a lengthy process. So, what are you going to say? That's the process. But what you could do is at least keep it to that, get the support, and so it doesn't go any longer than necessary. Okay, when you think about the chair, yes, someone could be helpful in your area of interest. Stay away from overly passionate people. They may just keep you in there longer. But do they have the right expertise? I'm thinking about quant or qual approaches. Are their comments helpful? All too often, I hear that, well, it doesn't flow, but, well, what's going to actually help to make it flow? We never get that answer. So they're giving feedback, but they're not being specific about how to correct that. That would be a nice thing to address with your committee or with your chair up front. Gosh, when you give feedback, are you able or willing to help out with a direction on how to correct it, rather than just kind of, get it, a critical comment? And also, how easy are they to work with? It's easy hearing feedback if it's delivered in a nice fashion, isn't it? I mean, we can hear almost anything if it's presented in a nice way, with a nice tone of voice. In a, I care about you graduating, and I want to be difficult on the topic at hand. Maybe your writing's not fantastic. Maybe the questions are not perfect. Fine. Give some suggestions, find something good to say about it, and help me move along this process. Do they give responsive feedback? Are they taking their full 2 weeks because they have a full 2 weeks? Or are they actually being responsive and saying, hey, gosh, they're actually paying for this quarter by quarter? Can they really be helpful in being responding to you. You know, a lot of these guys and gals that are mentors, it seems like they have lots of these going on. In fact, some of the schools, they just don't really have the expertise, and they have a lot of dissertations to handle, and they're really taking their time. You know, you're paying the price for that in many ways. So look to see how responsive they've been. And somehow, you know, how can you stay in the front burner with them? Are you compatible intellectually and professionally? You know, some people we just don't get along with, right? I mean, it's just happened. Intellectually, you're on two different planes. Professionally, perhaps, on two different planes. So there should be alignment. It's going to make your life easier. Just like a good school and a good department, you got to be a good fit. Okay. And if you're not, you're going to pay that price in frustration and in money and in time. Are they enthusiastic about your project? Watch out for overly enthusiastic people. Particularly when you're picking those extra committee members, just be careful there. Some people want a true expert in the field. True experts are going to have different set of criteria that may or may not keep you in there longer. I do think they should have a belief in you. And a question to ask yourself is, how would I know that they believe in me? And really see my interest at heart. What kinds of things, once it happened, that you would recognize? So you have to have some kind of ecology check there to see whether or not you can recognize when they do believe in you. And then if they do, in fact, terrific. If they don't, then I would say, you know, what are they really in for? You know, what is their interest in this thing? So you want someone who's with you in the process. And Emerson, nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm, and your enthusiasm about getting finished, and less so about the topic. See that end in mind. Committee members sometimes work well together, and sometimes they don't. My committee and my department at Miami of Ohio, I can say that now, you know, they didn't really care for each other. They got together in committees because they had to get together. Because when you're chairing other people's, they didn't really care for each other, okay? They were kind of orthodox in their own clinical ideas. And they really, if they didn't have to get together, they probably would never get together. So they weren't overly enthusiastic about breaking out time out of their day to get together to make this happen. So, you know, are you finding people that are working well together? And I would say after that chair is selected, I would say what other committee members would be a good choice that you've worked with before to get them together, just so you're not wasting time trying to schedule a meeting, you know? All right. Your instincts are critical. Men maybe have a tougher time with this. Women, they have a large, you know, women have a larger corpus callosum than men. Do you know this, men and women? Well, women know this already, but, you know, basically women have a, you know, men have like a little crickety road between their right and their left brain. Women have a super highway between their right and left brains. That means men, you got to work harder to actually get that intuition going, okay? To the extent that men and women get their intuition going, trust your instincts. If something's wrong, you know it. And you got to address that point. That's not going away. If you have a committee member that doesn't like that topic, okay, think about this. They don't like that topic. You say, oh, gosh, I can get around it. I can. Really? Maybe not. Maybe you're going to spin your wheels for 6 months and spend $5,000 and still be in the same spot. I talk to those people. They're a year down the road, same exact spot. Okay, tell me they didn't have an inkling about that the year before? Trust me, there was an inkling going on. They didn't listen to that inkling, and then they don't address an inkling that they can't admit that they have. So see the inkling, address it, own it, address it, and move forward. Trust your instincts. Okay. And Q&A, and we're just going to keep moving through this thing, okay? We'll take your questions at the end. All right. How do you select a topic? Out of all the topics in the world, how do we select a topic? Well, fortunately, most people know what they want to study. This may sound surprising to you, because there are so many things to look at in the world. But people, through you, that is, as you move through your coursework, there's things that you found of interest. You have read papers that caught your interest more than those other papers. You already have a topic in your brain. Okay? Go back to those papers and do a few things. Okay? And we're going to get in and talk about it in a little bit. Certainly look at those research questions and hypotheses. Okay? Oftentimes they can be tweaked just a tad, and I'll talk about how to tweak those, to actually create a new dissertation topic, or I'll say an edited or an adapted research topic. Okay? Keep calm. Your anxiety around this topic selection. I talked to somebody who went to a conference of mine, and they said, I've been thinking about a topic for 8 months. And I said, you're not leaving today, and I'm not leaving today until you have a topic nailed down. Pick a gosh darn topic. Do not spend 8 months on a topic. Do you hear that? That's you. Do not spend 8 months on a topic. Keep calm. If you get anxious, get back on track and formulate the question. By the way, I love research questions. Any of you that are on right now, I'm happy to schedule an open, and in fact, we could even do it during this session here, okay? You give me the kind of data that you have, tell me the kind of data you have, or the kind of topics you want to work out, and I'll generate research questions for you on the fly right here. So give me the kind of data you have, what the variables are, and we'll figure out a topic. I know out of all the people that are here, somebody's got that question out there, and we'll figure it out here in like 2 minutes. All right. One way to do it is what I'm just suggesting, is working backwards. What variables do you want to use? Okay. People know, or what kind of data do you have access to? Okay. So one of you guys are going to tell me right now what kind of variables or data you have, and we're going to figure out a question right here. All right, so let's see here. Okay, experts in the metacognitive processes. What aspect should I focus on? Okay, what is the right size of the? Okay, before I get there. Okay, so expertise in metacognitive processes. Okay, what kind of metacognitive processes are you referring to? Okay, Jerusalem. Okay, so that's my question back to you. So be specific. Yeah, let's see if we can unmute Jerusalem. Okay, hopefully you have your microphone going, and we'll just see what you got there. Do I need my speakers on? No, I'm good over here. All right. We're going to unmute you, Jerusalem. Hi, Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Hi, Jerusalem. You got that go? Okay, we kind of, well, I'm not quite sure we can get you. All right, so, all right, let's see here. Okay, we're going to go to Cheryl's. I want to look at teacher professionalism. Okay, where am I? Okay, I want to find out how teacher professionalism is defined in the context of Trinidad and Tobago. Cheryl, this isn't the Cheryl that was on my last few webinars here. Cheryl.
Hello.
Cheryl.
Yes, I'm hearing.
We've talked before.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Hi, can you hear me now, Cheryl?
Hello.
Hi, Cheryl, can you hear me? All right. Cheryl,
Yes, I'm
we've spoken
hearing, but
before.
I'm wondering if you're hearing me.
I'm hearing you just fine. Thank you.
Right.
Cheryl,
Thank you. I'm hearing. Good evening.
Good evening. We've spoken before, haven't we?
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm a little. We'll get to the question at hand. Okay. So what are the variables of interest, and we'll figure out the question.
I'm still trying to.
What are the variables that you're working with here?
I'm not really sure because looking at the literature, we have a number of definitions of professionalism in the literature. Professionalism as traits, professionalism as a moral character, professionalism as a critical kind of discourse. That's what I'm seeing. So I'm not sure if I should look at it in terms of the definitions of professionalism.
Yeah.
I haven't worked out how to analyze the variables yet.
Okay, so we have different ways of looking at professionalism: traits, morality, and critical discourse. What other variables of interest do we have here?
Some kind of definitions, and looking. I'm also thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Why
we have different kinds of teachers in our context. So we have teachers who are in varying kinds of schools. We have persons who are in schools that we consider high achieving schools. We have persons in different localities. So we have rural schools, urban schools. So what I want to see is it that we have different kinds of understandings of the nature of professionalism in our context based on where people are working, based on the kinds of experiences people have as teachers. So I'm seeing those as some of my variables. Maybe the kind of location that a teacher works in, the number of years that somebody would have taught, and that has some kind of correlation with how he or she defines or conceives professionalism or conceptualizes professionalism.
Okay, so let's just take what you have here. All right, we're going to mute you out, but okay, so, all right. So what we have basically is three sets of variables. We have professionalism, and we can define it in three ways: traits, morality, and critical discourse. We have location, which we can look at in terms of rural versus urban, and we have years of experience. So we can ask the questions, and let's just say that traits are measured in terms of different categories. Let's just say that all of those three aspects of professionalism, okay, traits are defined in terms of categories, morality is in terms of categories, okay, and discourse in terms of categories, okay. So, in location, we have categories, rural and urban, and let's just say years of experience, we have, low versus high, okay? And low, let's just say, is less than 10 years, high is 10 plus years. We can ask at least we can ask at least I'll say 7 research questions here, okay? 3 questions we can say is, what's the relationship between trade professionalism and location? What's the relationship between morality and professionalism and location? What's the relationship between critical discourse, professionalism, and location? That's 3. And then we can ask, what's the relationship between trade category professionalism and high and low experience, morality professionalism and high and low experience, and critical discourse professionalism and high and low discourse? That's 6 questions. So we're looking at the 3 types of professionalism by location, the 3 types of professionalism by years of experience. We could ask a 7th and an 8th question, really. The 7th question could be, is there a stronger relationship between trade professionalism with location or years experience? What's got the strongest relationship there? we could ask that same thing about morality and location and morality of the experience. So we can start drilling into these things. So you had 3 broad topics, variables. We can start pairing these things together, and then we can compare the pairings. All right? So that's just one example of on the fly of, presumably you've been thinking about it for more than the 5 minutes that I've been talking about it. So take your variables, start pairing them together. Is there a relationship between A and B? All right? The other ways of going about it just on the fly are, is one thing really impacting the other? Is A influencing B? Does location influence your degree of trade professionalism or moral? Okay? What is years' experience of the differences on discourse professionalism by years of experience, high and low? So lots of ways of putting together those variables and then asking about relationships between them or differences between them, or see if one of these variables predicts the other. Okay? So that's one way of working backwards. All right? Okay, are there any other, are there other variables of interest there? All right, let's go. We'll go one more. What do we got? Okay, so it's going to get one other here. Okay, so okay, so another question we have from Mike. Hi there, Mike. Is around turnover. Okay, so turnover is one variable. I'm looking to find the relationship between burnout, job satisfaction, turnover. Okay. All right, so, okay, wait, managers, and it goes on? Okay. Turnover, looking to find, okay, so we have burnout, turnover, burnout. Okay, and turnover, okay, between burnout, satisfaction, and intentions of managers. Okay, so all right, so easy. So right, so here, Mike, we have 3 variables: turnover. Pardon? No, I got it. I think it's fine. So if I understand it, Mike, so we have turnover, burnout, and job satisfaction. Okay, so in this case, one question to ask, and it's a different kind of question than Cheryl was asking. This kind of question, you could say, is one really leading to the other? Okay? That is, let's just take turnover and job satisfaction, okay? Turnover. Okay. Does turnover, is that influencing job satisfaction, or is job satisfaction influencing turnover? Well, it seems reasonable that the second one is really what's happening, right? So we can say, does job satisfaction influence turnover? Now let's look at it in terms of burnout and job satisfaction. Okay? Does satisfaction influence burnout, or does burnout influence satisfaction? Not quite sure, but they call hypotheses for a reason. We get to make educated guesses about these things. So we can ask the question, hey, really, you know what? Does burnout influence satisfaction, and does satisfaction influence turnover? That's a reasonable causal link. By the way, do I have a pen over here? Okay, so let me see if I can get a pen over here. Where is it? Let me see. Oh, here we are. Got it. Okay, so, and I'm going to go to magic marker here. So let me see what I can do here. Okay, so let's get a pen. Okay, so basically, you really have burnout. Let me just put it over here. Burnout. Sorry for my terrible penmanship. Okay, and then we have satisfaction there, and then satisfaction. Not easy to draw with these pens. Influence turnover. Okay. So you have burnout leads to satisfaction, satisfaction leads to turnover, or whatever other causal kind of linkage that you have going on here. By the way, you would consider this whole thing a mediating hypothesis. When you say that B leads to S and S leads to T, what we're really saying is that B, burnout leads to turnover, but that is being explained by low satisfaction, okay? So here you can actually ask several hypotheses. You can say, does burnout lead to satisfaction? That's a question. By the way, burnout, you have 3 subscales there if you're using the MBI, the MBT, right? I forget what they are offhand, but you have those 3. So do each of the 3 aspects of burnout lead to satisfaction? That's one hypothesis with 3 aspects, or 3 sub-hypotheses. Does satisfaction lead to turnover? It's the second hypothesis. And then the third hypothesis, does satisfaction mediate the relationship between each aspect of burnout with turnover? I know I'm kind of saying this kind of quickly, but it's another example of how you can just take variables and quickly come up with hypotheses that seem reasonable to test, all right, and then take it from there, all right? Okay, so without further ado, we'll see if I can just go to the next, see if I can turn off this thing. All right, so let's see here. Okay, give control of my keyboard. Okay, got it. Okay. If I can go forward here. I want to click over to this here. Maybe this is, your mouse always has input. Okay. There you go. That's the start. Okay. I need a little eraser here, though, too. Have an eraser. How do I delete the? Let's see here. Sorry about this, but you just want to make sure your BST isn't always there. Huh? Okay. Erase all drawings. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so continuing on around dissertation topics, thank you, Cheryl and Mike, for those examples, too. So, and for sure, Statistics Solutions can help you do that. Obviously, our phone number is down below. Send us an email. Tell us you're on the webinar. Okay, so other ways of getting the topic, definitely write something down. Much easier to edit from when something's written down. Find 3 issues, turn them into a topic. Hey, does burnout lead to satisfaction? Does burnout lead to turnover? Does satisfaction mediate that relationship? Those are issues, and those are questions. Look at the future research parts of existing papers. See what they've written. At the end of every paper, every peer-reviewed paper, they're going to talk about different kinds of things that you can look at. So look at that future research. Okay. You know, they say, your committee, maybe your school, you know, it should be original research. There's not much new underneath the sun. So the idea is that if you look at using a different sample or a different region, all you need is a twist. I call it the Lani twist, but some kind of a twist that makes it slightly different. Just because they did a study in 1990 doesn't mean it's valid today. Just because they did it with men doesn't mean it's valid for women, and so forth, and years of experience or different fields. There's lots of ways of drilling down into other kinds of populations, for example. All right, give it regions or time frames. So, you know, just look to replicate what other people have done. By the way, when you use something with a slightly just twist on it, you know, you get to look at their methodology layout. You get to look at their literature review and who has cited them since. Why not use that information? Why are people afraid to not to reinvent the wheel? Okay? All right. Let me see here. Okay. Okay, so hang on here. I'm having slight difficulty here. Keep control of the keyboard and mouse. See how that goes. What am I do this? Here? Yeah. Non-joint pen. Let's see how this works. Okay. Okay, so also topics should be researchable. It sounds like an obvious, like a duh. Of course they should be. Well, you'd be surprised that people have great research questions. They have a great instrument. They have no access to those participants. They have access to participants. They don't have a reliable, valid instrument. You have to have all of that methodology squared away. So, the topic should be able to be researched. Okay. All right. Dissertation topics. You can look at ProQuest. Just look at other dissertations and see what they've done. Okay. Now it's all you guys. Questions that you guys have, okay, at all? Here's one question or comment. I should announce we are having a dissertation workshop. Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, December the 6th. It's very inexpensive. I think it's $199. You get a full day of how to get through your dissertation within 1 year. Think about that. Is that an investment, a good investment of time and money? Dallas Airport, December the 6th, for $199. Oh, it's at the Marriott. So you don't have to leave the airport. All right, the airport Marriott. Send us information, or it's also on our website. And there's a link further on down the road here. How to graduate in 1 year. All right. This is just from PhD Comics. The cartoon says, "Oops, time for my daily 5-minute existential crisis. What am I doing with my life? What's the point? Where am I going to do when I graduate?" Okay, back to work. Have your crisis. Get back to work. We're all human. There's a lot of PhDs kicking around. You'll be one of them, okay? Feel free to call us, get a free consult. We can help you with lots of different things here. We'll make sure the process is a smooth process for you, okay? Come to the workshop. Okay. And I think that is obviously everything we're doing is personalized one-to-one, aside from these webinars. We're doing quantitative and qualitative analyses and helping with that. And in fact, we help with chapters 1 through 5, as well as IRBs. So we're helping you with we're taking your hand. We're addressing the comments that people want to be done. We help you get done. Simple as that. We take your hand, we walk you through. So it's a nice, smooth process. Call us or email us. We'll show you how that works. Okay. Interested in your feedback, email us. It's fine. And then without further ado, I'm just going to say thank you all for joining. And I look forward to seeing you on the 22nd. And we'll look forward to seeing you December the 6th, Dallas-Fort Worth, at the Marriott, the airport. Thank you so much, and I wish you all a wonderful night. Thanks for attending. Bye-bye now.